The FTC is very clear on how they feel about MLMs. Hey everyone, it's me, Turd Girl One, and I am back with another video. Yes, it's been a while. The last time that I was going to record, it was the IG outage of 2021, and because I use IG as I record, I wasn't able to record. I should probably take that as a lesson to start saving videos and just screen recording them, but I know that I'll never do that. So look at my shirt. It's Rude Dog. Does anyone remember Rude Dog? I grew up without cable, so I had like a couple VHS tapes that I lived for, and this was one. It had like 3 episodes, and I'd replay them over and over. I loved Rude Dog. Other things to note that are not related to this video. Today is the 9-year anniversary of me rescuing my dog. He was just a little puppy. I love you. I also picked a winner for the giveaway that I had in the last video. I tagged you on IG if you were the winner, since both of the winners had IG. If you didn't get that notification, don't be sad. I got more giveaways coming. I have a couple more videos planned, some without giveaways, some with giveaways. You'll have another chance, I promise you. Also, I hit 100 subscribers. I hit 122 subscribers, which was awesome to wake up to. That was the day that I couldn't record, so it was a pleasant surprise. So thank you for joining me on this channel, and let's get into today's video. Yes. In between the last video and this video, some things have happened. In the anti-MLM community, we think that we're doing the right thing. We think that we are warning women about these potential scams. We try to warn women that there's a potential that they might lose money, get in debt. They may lose friends and family along the way, and they'll be really, really forced to sell and use all of their free time to recruit. Turns out we're wrong. We've heard people say that the anti-MLM community is manipulative and anti-feminist, and I don't know, I'm sure there's other things that they've said. I don't pay much attention to it. Since I've been gone, the anti-MLM movement has begun. The woman leading this movement is someone you might be familiar with. She first caught my attention in a comment section on No Shame Sales Game, which if you're not familiar with that Instagram, like, don't even bother. It's just bad. No Shame Sales Game is an Instagram run by someone who is taking advantage of those in MLM. She posts a lot of boss babe energy quotes, tries to debunk some of the anti-MLM claims, but they really don't make sense at all. So this, I think, was actually the post that I had seen her in. It says, people like to criticize the success rate of network marketing, but ignore the fact that 40% of Americans can't afford to cover a $400 emergency. Those two things aren't even related. There is probably some overlap between people in network marketing and people that can't afford a $400 emergency. Just saying. This hun that I had seen was really going after people in the comments in a very negative way. She actually called them the R word, which it's like, Anti-MLM Boss Babe also sent me some screenshots of people responding to this hun, telling people to off themselves. Very, very toxic energy. Julie Joe also posted a video reacting to one of this hun's videos, so I'll post it there. I know I'm being a little bit like vague and I haven't revealed her yet. I just want to make sure that we all get the background on her. In her Instagram, she seems to refer to herself as a network marketing coach. She tries to give tips on selling. She also considers herself an advocate for the network marketing community and often discusses some of the things that people in the anti-MLM community say. Initially, I will say I didn't want to react to her. Her content is so illogical that it almost felt like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say too easy, but It felt too easy. She posted one video that I thought was worth me reacting to, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. The other thing to know about her is that she does have a biology degree. I also know that she was working using her biology degree for many years alongside her network marketing business. She does tell one story on her Instagram about when she was suspended from her job for 2 weeks and had to use network marketing to essentially pay the bills. She does not say why she was suspended, so I don't know. I don't know why she was suspended. I know she also has another legitimate business, something that she should be quite proud of, making hair care products. I say all that because I think she has to be a relatively smart woman to have this biology degree, to have been using this biology degree. And it's just so shocking to me that her Instagram posts are so illogical. For example, she says, fact, anti-MLMers, that's what she calls us, are manipulative liars. That's not a fact. That's objectively not a fact. It's an opinion. Even if you were to reverse it for something that I believe, which would be that people in MLMs are very manipulative, that can't be said as a fact. It's an opinion that I've made based on observation and studies and all of that. Her saying that about the anti-MLM community is an observation that she feels that she has seen, and it's something that she believes, but neither are fact. And it's crazy to me that someone working in a field of science doesn't understand that. This is another one. Fact. There are people who consider themselves to be anti-MLM and have made a life of bullying people online. Not a fact. So some information on the MLM she's in. She was with Traveris for several years, and that used to be Paycation. Then she moved to iBoomerang. iBoomerang is run by two people, Holton Buggs and David Manning. But David Manning is the CEO and president of a company called Extreme Travel. Extreme Travel is also what Paycation and Traveris use as part of their travel section in that MLM. iBoomerang is still really new. My guess is when she heard that it was new, she left Traveris to join iBoomerang because the quicker you get in, the chances of you making more money off of it are greater. I will talk a little bit more about her as we react to this video. So let's just get started. Apologies in advance for the 70s porno music she seems to use in the background of her video.
What's up, guys? It's your girl, and I am coming to you with a very critical video today. So this video is going to be distinguishing FTC versus John M. Taylor. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, what I do on this channel over here is I post multi-level marketing or network marketing content, but I also debunk the plethora of lies that are out here about the industry. So that is what this video is going to be about today. And I'm making this video primarily because I am so tired of seeing people on all social media platforms, all over the internet, saying that the FTC said something that the FTC never said. They never said it. So just because something is on the FTC's website doesn't mean the FTC actually said it. So I'm going to prove that to you today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is who is John M. Taylor. So John M. Taylor, I'm just going to read you very briefly some of his background credentials or whatever. He's a guy with a PhD, so he automatically thinks he's important because he's got a bunch of initials behind his name. Who cares? But he's supposed to be an expertise in business analytical skills, doctoral level research, and a wide range of entrepreneurial and home-based business ventures. And he's got some experience in the direct sales industry.
Already, she's trying to minimize his authority by blowing off the fact that he has a PhD. This person has earned his PhD. He has earned the right to speak with authority. He has earned the right to be referred to as doctor, and he has earned the right to use PhD at the end of his name. When you want to minimize someone's authority, you need something to back it up other than he has a PhD, he thinks he's important. This little remark reminded me of a very similar video, which I'm going to play because it's the same energy.
We're here to approve the standards that have been presented. And if Mrs. Rosario has something about one of those standards...
It's Dr. Rosario. Thank you, sir.
If Mrs. Rosario has something about...
Dr. Rosario.
Well, you know, I'm sorry. Your name says on here, Carrie Rosario. Hey, Carrie. Mm-hmm.
It's
If
Dr.
you got-
Rosario.
If you got something
I would
specific
call you
about-
Tony, so please, sir,
Yeah.
call me as I would like to be called. That's how I'm
It
identifying.
doesn't really matter. We're here.
It
talk
matters
about
to
this
me.
writing.
It matters to me. And out of respect, I would like you to call me by the name that I'm asking you to call me by. Thank you.
Your strength.
It is incredibly disrespectful to write off someone's accomplishments in the way that she has just done.
I want to bring to you guys' attention, first and foremost, that this article that he wrote was published in the public comment section on the FTC's website. The FTC never said it. So I'm going to show it to you right here. And I'm also going to read what I have highlighted. It says that the FTC's website, it says ftc.gov, and then it says comment submitted by John M. Taylor. And that's where he publishes this 40-page report of apparently everything that MLMs are doing wrong. So let's talk about why that's relevant. It's relevant because it's very manipulative to go around telling people that the Federal Trade Commission said something when they never said it. So either these anti-MLMers are unaware that the FTC never said it, or they're being manipulative and they know that the FTC holds more weight than an individual human being. So that's why I figured I'd make this video, just to get the word out.
I obviously can't speak for the whole anti-MLM community, but I have always used this study as being something done by John M. Taylor. In fact, on my Instagram, on the bottom right, I do refer to this as a study done by Dr. John M. Taylor. I don't refer to it as an FTC study. The public comment was approved by the FTC, and they have made some comments about MLMs that can be found directly on their website. Every time the FTC has to send warning letters to MLMs, they do publish it on their website. For example, this one is from 2020, not that long ago. The FTC sends warning letters to multi-level marketers regarding health and earning claims they or their participants are making related to coronavirus. They didn't just go to these random MLMs that no one's heard of. They went to doTERRA, they went to Modere and Arbonne, It Works, Rodan and Fields. These are very popular MLMs that are getting these warning letters. On June 5th, they had a press release about a second wave of warning letters that had to go out, again relating to coronavirus and earning claims. MLMs that are quite popular: Isogenics, Juice Plus, Melaleuca, Plexus. We also have a blog post by Sina Gresson titled "FTC Again Warns Multi-Level Marketers About Unproven Health and Earnings." In this blog post, Sina warns that most people who join MLMs make little or no money. Sina certainly has authority as she does represent the FTC. She is an attorney for the Division of Consumer and Business Education. Her main point is that the FTC didn't do this study and that it should be irrelevant because it's done by some guy with some PhD and blah, blah, blah. But his public comment again was approved to be on the FTC. So I guess my question to her is, where are all the public comments in support of MLMs on the FTC's website? In fact, even off the FTC's website, I haven't seen anything in favor of MLMs, except that fake statistic that 82% of women making six figures or more are doing it through multi-level marketing.
So that's why I figured I'd make this video, just to get the word out so people can stop lying across the board. So let's take a further look into what his study was about and why he wrote it. That is the most important thing. Let's take a look at why he decided to publish this 40-page essay and why he decided to look at our industry and put it under a microscope in the first place. So he says, my wife began asking questions after a few months. He says, my wife began asking questions after a few months of no income. She did not like the changes that were occurring in me as a person, neglecting the family and seeing everyone as a prospect.
So there's a moment in there where she's reading that portion and she kind of pauses. She kind of goes, There was a particular sentence she wanted to completely skip. She's skipping over some very important details about John M. Taylor's study. In 1994, he was approached by some of his friends who insisted that he was wrong about MLM. He used to openly state that he felt that they were very similar to pyramid schemes. He says, being an entrepreneur by nature and a researcher, both by training and experience, I was curious and considered proving for myself once and for all whether or not MLM was a legitimate business. So the first thing she breezes over is that he actually joined the MLM with the intention of studying MLM practices. So he wasn't just someone that joined an MLM and failed, as she's somewhat implying. The other thing that she sort of omits is that he decided to work it hard and just basically give it his all. He says here, my dedication was total, as it seemed that it would not be a valid test otherwise. He says he did everything that the company and upline recommended, subscribed to and tried all the products, recruited many people I knew, and sought any referrals I could get. So this is the part that she read out loud where she sort of skips over an important sentence. My wife began asking questions after a few months of no income. Though I rose to a level of about the top 1% of distributors. He did make it to the top and worked his business hard. She is constantly saying how the people that aren't making it are the people that aren't working hard enough, that aren't giving it their all, that are treating it like a hobby, etc., etc., etc. But here's proof of someone who worked really, really hard at it and still didn't get the results he wanted.
So basically, because he became this nasty person who was chasing his friends and family and completely working the business in a wrong way, that's not how you work a successful business in multi-level marketing, is by looking at everybody as a prospect and chasing friends and family. That's not how you do it. So because he did it, he claimed to have began to feel ethically wrong and embarrassed by his actions. So he decided to take a look at the industry as a whole.
So that's why she skipped over all that important stuff. Because her theory to her audience, which her engagement is totally tragic, so it's probably like 3 people, is that he became a horrible person in an MLM, so then he began to study them. When the actual story is that he joined an MLM as a sort of experiment to actually study them and research them.
And this is the problem that I have with the entire 40-page study that he did on the industry. I have a problem with it because he submitted facts about the industry, but he omitted the truth about the industry. And that is my biggest issue with this whole article that he wrote, and why I really think it just needs to go away. So here's the difference between facts and the truth. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, well, you can't argue with a statistic, or you can't argue with facts, or you can't argue with research. Let me explain the difference between facts and truth to you really quickly before we move on. If I was a racist white person and it was my goal to make black people seem like they were animals, seem like they were criminals, seem like they were thugs, ghetto, crackheads, all this other thing, if that was my goal as a racist white person, then I could fabricate statistics to back up my claims. Because the fact of the matter is, black people, there's more black people in prisons in big metropolitan areas than any other demographic. Black people are only 13% of the population, but we account for over 60% in the prisons. Those are facts. And if I just leave it at that, or if I just keep talking about the horrible behaviors of black people and the justice system, then guess what? If you don't know any better, you're going to think black people are horrible. But if you are a conscious person who can think, you're going to say, well, wait, why is that? And as you begin to do your own research, then you'll find that the reason that is because of things like systemic racism, things like prejudice in the judicial system against blacks that has been happening since we came over here. And you will begin to find out that racism and unfair sentencing plays a huge part in the reason as to why we're in prison more than other demographics, and we're a smaller population.
The study she is referring to was done by the Sentencing Project. The reason I'm familiar with this study is because I work with a nonprofit that deals with at-risk youth. The Sentencing Project has also done studies on youth incarceration, which those statistics are really important to us to help guide the mental mentorship program. In their studies, Black adults were 5.9 times more likely to be incarcerated than whites. Hispanics were 3.1 times more likely to be incarcerated than whites. In their study, they actually list the reasons she's just addressed as being the reason for this. We're looking at racism, xenophobia, economic disparities.
So I guess I'm just confused.
With John M. Taylor's study, she wants us to look beyond the conclusion because she thinks it's off, that it's wrong, that it's a lie. But when it came to the Sentencing Project study, she came to the same conclusion that they did. She agrees with them. This means that she thinks the Sentencing Project came to a proper conclusion based on their findings. So what? She just gets to pick and choose what study is done correctly based on her own emotions and feelings? She's right that someone could use that statistic for nefarious means. Someone like, I don't know, Tucker Carlson and Steven Crowder may use that statistic to further their own narrative to their audience. So it is important that we look beyond the statistic and find out what's going on around it. And this is probably where she didn't expect to be wrong with that. She went wrong by telling us to do further research, because if we did, we'd see that there are other studies that tell us that multi-level marketing isn't successful. John M. Taylor is not the only person that has done research on MLMs. I've brought up this study before. This is the AARP study of multi-level marketing. In the study, you can see it was done by Marguerite Dilemma, Doug Shadell, Amy Knofziger, Carla Pack. I may have gotten all of those names incorrect. I apologize. First, we have Doug Shadell, who is a former fraud investigator, and he's the state director for AARP. He actually has a PhD in social science, so he is actually Dr. Shadell. Amy was also mentioned. She is the director of the fraud victim support with AARP. She basically works with the AARP to prevent elder abuse and fraud. There's also Marguerite. She does have a PhD in gerontology, which is the study of aging. She also has a bachelor's of science in biological psychology from UCLA. Some of her research includes consumer fraud, elder abuse, identity theft. She definitely has some authority here. We also had Carla Pack. I couldn't find too much on Carla Pack, but she did do a dissertation with Doug Shadell on consumer fraud. Basically, the point is that all of these people are experts on consumer fraud. They have the authority to speak on it, and they all got together to basically do a study on multi-level marketing. They surveyed 1,000 people, and it's really important when you do statistics and surveys that it's random. So the results of these surveys are going to be based on the 601 people who said that they had been involved in direct sales. In their findings, 47% of MLMs reported that they lost money, and 27% of the MLM participants reported that they broke even. So in this study, we're going to look at about 74% of people who reported they lost or broke even in an MLM. Of the people that made a profit, 53.4% said it was less than $5,000. The other statistics we look at are the direct selling statistics. So these are presented by the DSA, which is a lobby group that lobbies in support of multi-level marketing and direct selling businesses. But even their own statistics, which tell us that direct sellers averaged only $5,000 in retail sales in 2020, they don't really have statistics in their favor. Most of their statistics deal with demographics versus success and how much people are actually making. And I find that to be interesting. If you're an interest group for direct sales, why wouldn't you do a study to show how successful direct selling is? That would be really important when you lobby, and it would be important to get others involved in direct selling. But if you feared that the results wouldn't better your interest, you probably wouldn't do that study. And that's probably why the Direct Selling Association hasn't done a study on the success rate of MLMs. And there was another study done by Nick Clements, who founded Magnify Money. Nick Clements went to Stanford University. He got a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and History with honors. He also speaks a little Italian. Anyway, he founded Magnify Money to help people with their personal finances. And he also did a survey on MLMs and found that most people were making less than 70 cents an hour in sales. And that was before deducting their business expenses. 60% said that they earned less than $500 over the past 5 years. My whole point is that we aren't basing our feelings about MLMs on one study. We're basing it on multiple, as well as press releases and blogs written on the FTC's website.
So back to the MLMs, that's exactly what John M. Taylor did with his research that he did on the multi-level marketing industry. And I can say that because I myself, I have been in the industry for 8 years. It'll be 8 years in December, and I have seen firsthand why people are not successful in multi-level marketing. I'll give you some really quick examples. So I would say over the period of 8 years, I've had about 2,500 people come through my organization. And guess how many people out of 2,500 actually worked the business and actually took it seriously and who are actually still working with me now and taking it seriously? I would say about 18 people out of 2,500. So let's do some statistics here really quickly, shall we? If you divide 18 by 2,500, you're going to get less than 1% of my organization was actually working the business.
That sort of sounds like a you problem. You recruit people on the basis that you are going to coach and mentor them. She considers herself a network marketing coach and mentor, but she can't even hang on to her own recruits. If you have recruited 2,500 people and only 18 people are still working with you, that's very reflective of both the business and yourself. I don't even know why she shared that. That doesn't help her case at all. I also think it goes without saying that this statistic holds no water. It's not a valid random sample. It's sort of just based on estimates. Her saying that she's been in network marketing for 8 years is false authority. Being in network marketing does not make you an expert on business or the MLM structure. I actually had seen someone in No Shame Sales Game comment section refer to herself as a financial coach. Her claim to authority was that she used to be in debt and now she's not. That's not authority. You don't have a degree in finance or economics. I also used to be in debt and I am no longer. Doesn't mean I could be a financial coach.
Another example, the company that I'm with now has approximately 16,000 ambassadors. And out of the 16,000 ambassadors, there's about 640 of us who are constantly on the trainings every single week. So same thing here. If you divide 645 by 16,000, that would give you roughly 4% of the company who is actually engaged in learning how to work the business, learning how to sell the products, learning how to, go about talking to people the right way. So what does that mean? It means that the other 96% of the company, the people who paid money to join, they're paying their money every single month, they're not even getting on the trainings. So yeah, the numbers are true, but it doesn't say why the numbers are true.
I don't think it's fair to say that they don't care, especially when you recruit and you tell people that they can do it on their free time. It's possible that their free time doesn't allot for a training. Maybe they have to go to their other job. Maybe they have to pick up the kids from school. I also find this funny because of something she said in another video.
And then they get overwhelmed and say it don't work when they really just wasn't doing any income producing activities. They were basically just hopping on webinars and taking notes. And that's what they considered working the business. And that's not an income producing activity.
She's basically referring to these calls and webinars as being not income producing. So they're not really evident of someone who's serious about working their business. Yet here she is saying that it is evidence that people are plugged in and want to work their business.
And another main reason is there's a book out there called How to Lie with Statistics. I highly recommend that you check it out because people have to be able to know the difference between facts and the truth. And they have to be able to understand or realize that statistics can be manipulated to push a certain agenda.
A couple of things that Daryl Huff will talk about in his book will be sampling. So not doing a random sample is a way to manipulate your statistic. One example would be to use the statistic of people that have been in and out of your MLM underneath you. That would not be a random sample, and therefore you could use that statistic to manipulate others. An example of a good random sample would be the AARP study, in which they randomly sent a survey to 1,000 people. Not all of those people were meant to have been in an MLM. It's just a group of random people. And then they took the people that answered that they had been in an MLM and only used those survey results to conduct their studies. But I do think it's funny that she references this book without actually refuting any of those things in John M. Taylor's study. In fact, the only thing that she really seems to refute is his authority.
And just really quickly, I want to put up another very interesting point. It's about the difference between a legitimate network marketing company and a pyramid scheme. Now, I'm going to read this to you. It says that the harshest critics maintain there is no difference, that there's no such thing as a legitimate MLM. They're all cults, they're all scammers, they're all this, they're all that. They use this word all as an absolute to try and make it seem like all companies are the same. That's what the harsh critics about the industry say about the industry. However, the Federal Trade Commission says there are legitimate MLMs. The difference between a legitimate business and a pyramid scheme comes down to products. Now, that is what the FTC said, that yes, there are legitimate MLMs out there. So if you hear or see anyone saying all MLMs are scam, or all MLMs are this, or all MLMs are that, just know that they're wrong, because the Federal Trade Commission disagrees with them on that. And they have it in writing in an article. I can send you the article if you want to see it.
I already shared that the FTC had some other words to say about MLMs, including that most people don't make money from them. The FTC is there to just regulate the businesses. They are well aware that MLMs walk a very, very, very fine line between pyramid scheme and legitimate business. MLMs do the absolute least they have to do to be considered a legitimate business. This is why the FTC has to constantly send out warning letters. Like, even the FTC says most people who join legitimate MLMs make little or no money. The FTC is very clear on how they feel about MLMs.
Lastly, if you have had a good experience in the area of network marketing, I would like to hear from you in the comment section about what you feel about this video, or what are your thoughts, or what have your experiences been, because this is something that we need to talk about to change the trajectory of where this industry is headed, as well as why it's an excellent industry to get into for those of us who are willing to actually make a commitment to stick with it, and who are committed to learning how to properly prospect people, how to properly sell the products, and how to do things in the right way. So that takes time. That takes at least 5 years worth of time in order to properly learn how to do something like that and to really be successful.
What? You can't just say that. You're just saying stuff. 5 years? Where did you get that from? I think I had posted this on Instagram, but I just want to reiterate that the skill set and the ranks that you make at an MLM, they're not transferable. So if you spend 5 years at an MLM, like the amount of time she says you need to spend at an MLM, and you realize all that's happened is you've lost money, you can't just jump ship to another MLM and start from where you are at this MLM. You're going to have to start at the bottom, at the lowest rank. That experience at the MLM you wasted your time at is not transferable on a resume. It unfortunately is probably best if you leave a gap on your resume than put an MLM like Monet.
So I'd like to hear from you in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I look forward to reading your responses, and boom.
That's going to do it for today's video. If you liked this, comment, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it. I'll see you next time.